Hi, remember me? Mike Bowen from Transform People International. It was great to see you a couple of weeks ago in Birmingham. What I wanted to do here was we produced a series of podcasts for you, just to remind you of some of the core skills that we talked about during those 2 days. So please just take this as a reminder, and hopefully it'll jog your memory to practice some of the skills that we talked about over those couple of days. So let me take a few minutes here to talk to you about behaviour. You'll remember when we went through DISC, so let me just refresh your memories. High D people, those of you that are high D, you tend to focus more on tasks than on people. You're pretty strong-minded people and you like to win, but remember, there is a danger you can be a bit overpowering to people. You're an agent of change, you love new things, you love new ideas, and you're pretty direct, but also remember you like to be in control. And in some ways when you're dealing with a high D, it's pretty important to remember to let them stay in control of the situation. You remember also when you need to deal with high Ds, these are people who like options. They don't like to be told what to do. So think about that when you're dealing with people that you might recognise as high Ds. Those of you that are high I, influential, remember you tend to focus more on people than on tasks. You're pretty sociable, pretty outgoing, effusive people, even hedonistic you might say. You may remember I said you're the guy sitting at the bar always buying the beers. But also remember, you're not great with detail. It tends to be more about me than about the detail. You're great enthusiasts, but also there's a danger you can be undisciplined. So remember, when you're talking to a high I, or you're dealing with a high I as a customer, you need to be careful in terms of the way in which you deal with them. Allow them to talk. Don't interrupt them. Try and make them the hero, but be warm and friendly with them. And then we had the S, the steady people. You're very loyal and you're very dependable people. And of all the 4 behavioural types, these are the best listeners. You remember we talked about using the ears to be good listeners. However, on the other side, sometimes they can be seen as low in confidence and easily discouraged. You remember these are the type of people that are trying to please everybody. You quite enjoy the status quo, the way things are, and therefore are a bit less keen on change. But you will remember I said these are great finishers, whereas the Ds and the Is might start things, S's make sure they get done and completed, though sometimes they can be a little slow to get started. So remember, when you're dealing with a high S, don't be overly aggressive. Don't be too pushy with them. And most importantly, they need time to think. So give them some space and some time to think. And finally, we talked about the high Cs, the compliant. These are people that are very comfortable with reason and with logic, but frankly not so comfortable with feelings. They can come across as sometimes being a little standoffish or a little reserved. But these are very planned and organised people, so when you deal with them, you need to plan and organise. Use facts and figures rather than acting spontaneously with them. So these are people that are very process driven, they like the rules, they like regulations. But remember, sometimes high Cs can be viewed as being negative, and they lack a degree of enthusiasm. So remember that DISC when you're looking at your customers. You'll also remember we talked about the connections tool, and on the memory jogger I gave you the URL to go and survey your customers, to go and profile your customers. Please use the tool. It's there for you, it's available. Just put in your email address and the password is Hewlett. You'll also remember we talked about dealing with the behavioural types on the telephone and in email. Look back to that hot button slide that talks about the key words that they respond to or are most likely to respond to. So hopefully by now you'll have profiled a number of your customers and maybe even some of your friends. So happy selling, hope that's working for you, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thanks very much indeed. Goodbye.